The key to a successful homestead is that everyone in the family has a key role to play. On today's episode, we're going to show you what a typical dad does on a homestead. But first, I gotta make a quick trip to the hardware store and to the feed store. Picked up a bale of straw for the chicken coop and some concrete for our next project, but first we got some chores to do. You guys by now are familiar with what Salisha does on the homestead, but you've never seen what I do on the homestead, so today you're gonna follow me and we're gonna go do some chores that I do on a regular basis. We buy these bales of hay from a lady that lives about 20 minutes from us, and we buy them and then store them, and right now we're kind of short on storage, so we've been putting them in Salisha's greenhouse, which she hasn't been too happy about, but you gotta do what you gotta do on a homestead. And we gotta bring them down the hill for the goats, and it's quite a mission walking down these steps with the bales. They might look light, but they're not. They actually do weigh quite a bit. So here's all the girls and the one buck right there, and they see the hay, so they're excited. So in order for me to be able to feed the other girls that we have locked up inside, I need to keep these guys away from them, because as soon as I open their door, all of these guys are gonna want to try and jump inside. So in order to keep them distracted, I'm gonna leave that bale there, go back up and grab the other two bales. This is quite a workout. Can you imagine? There was a time when we didn't have these stairs and we had to walk up this hill. By the time you got to the very top, and in some spots it's a lot steeper than others, but by the time you got to the very top, you literally wanted to pass out and you would change your mind about wanting to go down the hill. So we built these stairs. It's made life a lot easier. When family and friends come over, we can bring them down the hill now without having to worry about falling down the hill or slipping and sliding down the hill. And like I was saying, these bales are quite heavy and it's not fun carrying them down these stairs. But we do have another way of getting them down, but unfortunately I can't do it with these bales because the lady we bought them from, she didn't tie the bales very tight and they're loose. And our other method is from the road to the left of where I'm walking. We would slide them down the hill and then walk around and pick them up from the bottom and store them down in one of these coops that we have. But unfortunately, if I roll those bales down the hill, they're gonna fall apart. So I gotta check on everybody, make sure they got water and they got enough hay and feed. So in there is where we keep two of our young girls that we're keeping separate. We don't want them to get pregnant, so they're in that little coop. That's what we call it. I'm getting their water bowls, rinsing them out, cleaning them so they're nice and clean, and then I'm gonna fill them up with water. When you have goats, they always manage to poop in their water. No matter what you do, you just can't prevent it. You're always gonna have goat poop in their water, so that's why I rinse them out. And then I'm gonna give them some fresh water, and once we're done with these two girls, we can go and show you the two young males that we have and the mommy goat. But I gotta go back up the hill and grab the bales of hay. Like I said, this is quite a workout. You'll notice the goats will always stand on the bales of hay. That's one of the downsides to just leaving one of the bales on the ground, is goats love standing on top of them. And while they're standing up there and eating, they're gonna poop on top of it, so you don't want that. So on this side is where we keep our mommy goat. MP is what we call her. So I'm gonna give her a big fresh bale of hay just for herself, and then we're gonna go back to the stairs and grab another one for the two young boys that we have on the other side. But first I'm gonna bring the bucket of water because it was right there. Might as well just bring that over and get that ready, because all of them are gonna get some fresh water. The least favorite jobs that I have on the homestead, and you gotta kind of prioritize your jobs as to who's also capable of doing certain chores. Like, I wouldn't expect Salisha to carry two of these heavy bales all the way down the stairs and bring it into the goat coops. I'd rather do it myself because I'm stronger. So you want to prioritize your chores and let people who are capable of doing certain chores to do those chores, and then the other family members can do the other chores. So now that the heavy stuff's over, I can go bring the water inside and we can show you MP. She's in there, and she actually recently had a miscarriage, which was pretty sad because she had twins. We just came out one day and found both still babies on the ground, so it wasn't fun. She's doing a lot better now, so we've been keeping her away from the male so he doesn't try to want to impregnate her. And she just can't wait to get some fresh water. And she's the oldest goat that we have on our property. And then we got two of our other males that we keep on the other side. And you can see how many 2x4s we used. So originally we started with 3. Then they kept jumping or crawling through, so we went to 4. That wasn't enough, so 5, 6, 7. I think there's 8 pieces there. Goats are escape artists, and they will find their way in and out of wherever they please. So mommy here is doing a lot better after her miscarriage, and hopefully we can let her out, but not yet. We don't want the male, like I said, to try and impregnate her. So she's gonna stay inside here, stay nice and warm and rest up. And these are the other two boys that we keep on this side. One of them is Violet's baby, and then the other one is Honey's baby. And they got a fresh bale for themselves, and they're directly across from MP now. And so everybody's happy. Typically one of these bales will last these two guys maybe about almost a week. Yeah, typically around a week, and then we'll bring a new one. And we keep the string around the bale, and I know you're asking why do we keep the string around it, because the string holds the hay together, and if we don't, by the next day it will just all be totally trampled on. And there's our mommy duck, but we'll get back to her. But you can see the goats. There's Violet on top of the bale of hay, and we typically don't like them standing on top of it, so that's why we don't just leave a bale out for them like you can see right now. I left that bale there just to distract them so they don't come around and try to get inside the coop where the other goats are. So it's a good distraction. But we gotta go bring that bale and bring it up. And there's mommy goat. We showed not goat, mommy duck. We showed you her in another video, and where she finally made it up, and she grew up with all of our chickens that we had at the bottom of the hill that are now at the top. So she stays with the ducks that are at the bottom of the hill, but she misses her chickens so bad that she will every single day walk up and down the hill just to go and see them and hang out beside them. And it's quite a journey to go up this hill. And she's not the quickest duck in the world.
Run, Forrest, run!
Oh, she's almost at the top, guys. She's almost made it. You can do it, Black Duck. Go, go, go.
Breaks a couple of tackles. And look at her go! And look at her go! He could go all the way.
And she's made it. And as you can see, she's reunited with her chickens. And everybody's happy again. And actually, just an update on the Black Duck. She actually stays up in the coop with the chickens now on top. She doesn't go back down anymore. And there's Violet, hasn't even moved from the hay. But we gotta go pick up this bale and bring it down the hill, and because it's gonna rain any minute now, so the last thing I want is for all this to get wet. So let's pick this one up and make a last trip down the hill, hopefully. And that's our electric fence. Yeah, it's not fun carrying these bales. They might not look heavy, but they're quite heavy. So there's our cow hutches, and we use them for goats or cows, and they work great for either one. And typically we have a stand that we put like a holder that we put the hay in, but I don't want it to get wet outside, so I'm just gonna leave it in here, and hopefully it won't get trampled too much, and it will at least stay out of the rain for a bit. But the next one that we do bring down, we will put in the feed holder, because it wastes a lot less feed that way. And you can see the black goat on top there, Pepper. Like I said, as soon as you put a bale down, they're quick to jump on top. There's one of our barred rock chickens that's mixed with an Americana chicken. The Americanas are the ones that lay the blue eggs. Pepper is also one of our dominant females, so that's why you'll see her on top, and Violet hasn't knocked her off yet. She might any minute, but one thing you need to consider when you're homesteading or getting into homesteading for the first time is during the winter, depending on where you live, you most likely will have to supplement feed with hay, because there's just no grass around, or it's covered in snow. So you're gonna have to invest money, unless you can grow your own and bale it and do all that, and that still costs money. But so you're gonna have to think about having enough hay and someone you can buy it from. And not just buying it is the issue, is also storing it somewhere dry. So you got to keep that into consideration. And typically a bale of hay for us goes anywhere from the lower end would be around $4, and on the higher end $7. This year we even saw hay selling for $10 a bale. And this is our rain barrel. You know, this is going to be a project for the spring most likely, or whenever I get time and I'm not working. But we're going to have to put a spout on that, because it's not fun tipping that over, especially when it's full of ice. So now that everybody's got their water, I think we can finally make it up the hill and get started on our next project. Now we got to clean out the chicken coop upstairs and put in some new straw that we just got from the feed store. These bales we'll buy when we can't get any straw from anywhere around us. They're kind of annoying to deal with, because they come in this bag, right? But it's so compact that it's a pain in the butt just trying to actually get the hay apart, or the straw, sorry, and to be able to spread it. So, but you'll see in a bit the chickens will come and they'll help spread this straw out, but it's so compact in the bale that it's really hard to get out. We mentioned in another video too, we bought these, kind of covered by the straw right now, but we bought these plastic nesting box from the feed store, and they're unbelievably strong and like durable. I was surprised. I thought they were going to be a lot flimsier, that we would have to put a piece of plywood underneath to support the weight, but they can really hold their own. I was surprised how good quality they are. And today, actually, not in this video, but we'll update you guys in another video, but the chickens have already started laying eggs in there, so we're starting to get eggs now, even though it's January. So that's great. So I don't want to empty this whole thing, so if you're wondering why I'm not just cutting the whole bag open, because we don't need to use the whole bag. You gotta conserve everything on a homestead, so you don't just conserve feed, you also conserve your straw as well, because everything costs money. So if you don't need to empty a whole bale on the floor of the coop, then don't. And as time goes on, like for example in 2 days we'll add more straw, so we'll add a little bit because they'll poop on this straw, so we'll come back in 2 days, add a little bit more, and then we'll keep doing that until it's time to clean it again. And you'll see the chickens will notice that I just put some straw in here, and they will go nuts. So they like going through the straw and spreading it, looking for seeds that they can eat, so they can help us spread them too. The one on the very left there, you can see her head is a little bit lighter colored, and so is her chest. She just went behind the wall there, but she's another Americana crossed with a barred rock. We chose the barred rocks because they're a dual purpose bird, so they're good for eggs and they get pretty meaty. So if you want it for your freezer, they do produce quite a bit of meat on their body. So if you go back maybe as far as maybe 50, 80 years ago, if you were buying chicken at the grocery store, it was the barred rocks that they used to use. They're great to have around because they're docile and they're very good free-ranging birds, so they can find food on their own, and they're very smart birds, so they know to look out for predators for the most part. And all of the roosters that we've had that are barred rocks for the most part are extremely docile and very friendly. They never attack us. We did have one, but he didn't last long and we got rid of him, and I don't think he was a barred rock. I think he was an Americana. You can't go wrong with a barred rock. So I have these old paint cans, and I'll bring them in there and set the water on there. It prevents the chickens, because they like to kick around and scratch and look for food. They will have a tendency of kicking the straw and the bedding in their water. So to prevent that, I put a paint can and lift it off the ground. They can still reach the water and drink, but they can't kick as much straw inside of there, being off the ground that high. And there's their feed bucket. And one thing with homesteading and doing everything on your own is that there's no set way of doing everything. Sometimes you'll notice what worked for you in the beginning might not work for you now. So if you had your, for example, your nest box or your perch on one end of the coop, you might find out later on, like months down the road, that it might be more convenient and easier for you to access everything if you moved stuff around. So don't be afraid to move things around and to experiment and try different ways of doing everything, so until you find the perfect way and the most convenient way of doing it. And on a homestead, you want to work smarter, not harder. So whatever you can do to save time and make chores easier, that's what you gotta do. So we buy feed, layer feed for our chickens, and that's what we feed them primarily. That's what they get. The reason we do that is because we're concerned about egg production. We need eggs, so we will buy layer feed so that the chickens will continue to lay eggs. And if you're having issues with your chickens not laying eggs properly, even though you've done everything else right, if you're not giving them layer feed, they will struggle to lay eggs, because the protein needs to be at a consistent level, and it needs to stay at that level consistently And if it doesn't and it keeps fluctuating their protein levels, they will not lay eggs properly, or they just will not lay eggs at all. Well, I think that's it for today. I'll be back in the evening to put the chickens away and check on the goats one last time. If you like this video and you want to see another dad chore, the next chore is me building a chicken run.
So if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay peaceful.